Hello, and finally back outside for a ride with my mates. I've got Mike from Mike Rides Bikes with us. I've got Scott from Cycle Nation, and we're going on a 50-mile ride that I planned round Ebden Bridge with a cafe stop. And today I'm going to talk about not falling off your bike.
But doing it uphill.
Yeah.
We won't take the wrong turn.
No. As me and Mike did last time we were out. To be fair, these are my local roads, I know these roads. But today we're going to talk about burnout. Because, as always, wanting to keep real with yous, I've, this week I hit the wall big time, mentally and physically. So, let's get into this ride and we'll discuss that later. And I'm also going to be talking to Scott on a serious level about how he's coped with his challenge, which again we'll tell you about later on. But yeah, let's get through, little bro, and I will come back to you. Everyone else is vlogging, so I feel I might as well vlog. So yeah, not getting into the thing yet. It'll be popping up here where I start talking about burnout, if that's what you're interested in this video, because that's what's going to be titled. But we're just coming up to a climb in Todmorden that I've been riding here for about 8 years, and I've been told about this climb a load, and I've never actually done it. And obviously I'm not going to film it, but it's just there. It's the Todmorden Golf Club climb, and apparently it's horrible, and I've never done it, so I will tell you what it's like. I'll try filming as much of it as I can, but it looks a steep bugger. Yeah.
I want to Google Maps to double check.
And that's all I can film. Right, I'll come back to you at the top. I'm not chasing these two. I'm gonna let them do their own thing, and I'll do mine.
Not junk. Just
That climb
having the calories, you know what I mean? So
was brutal beyond belief. Think of it.
Nah, not brutal, mate.
It's not brutal, but in the heat, it's
still
brutal.
Not properly warm, are you? Yeah, it's been relatively.
There's that, and then there's well, which we'll get to later in the video, but being burnt out, I don't know. But that was, I imagine if it was a bit cool, it'd be alright. It's just the heat got to me. Look at the state of my bars, I don't know if it's going to come across, but the top tube all over there. I'm frigging dripping as stupidly. I put a bleeding base layer on, because this one here says, oh yeah, wear a base layer. Yeah, and now I'm fucking sweating my balls off.
Do you want me to get my violin out?
Yeah, have you got a little one?
I've not got a bag, so I've probably got one hiding somewhere.
This lunatic's got a long sleeve base layer on.
It's breathable.
He's got a G layer, and I've got a bleeding jersey and a flipping base layer on, and I'm moaning. Right, anyway, so we're going to crack on with route, and then I'll get into...
I'll back you up anyway, because that's drenched.
Yeah. Then I'll get into it. You can see it on there. It's like... there you go, that says it all. That says all you need to know. That ain't fake either, that's sweat. But yeah, we're going to get into the route, and then I'm going to talk to you about my problems I've been having recently. So, burnout. Let's rewind a little bit. So, last year, 2024, I done the Fred Whitten, as you're all aware. And shortly after I done the Fred, I stopped training with my coach and went and basically just enjoyed my summer, which was great, loved it. Then in September, I decided I was doing the Fred again this year and signed back up with my coach. So since September, right the way through up till Fred, other than when I went to Australia, I was training with my coach, doing interval sessions, long rides, and I did a hell of a lot of sessions on Zwift, doing these intervals during the week and the odd weekend ride. So yeah, September, started back with Mark at Revolution Cycle Coaching, trained right the way through till I went to Australia, and then he'd kind of set me some training to do out there, but there was never any pressure to do what he'd set. It was just more of a structure for getting the volume in. And then he had a rest week the last week. Come back, literally the day I landed, I was straight back training again, and I trained up till the Fred, done the Fred, had a few days off, and then we dove straight into VO2 max sessions, which the first one was alright, I managed it, but then the second one my head fell off training indoors, because at that point the weather in the UK had changed, it got nice. I was just looking at myself on Zwift and I'm indoors doing VO2, and I was just like, I can't be arsed with this. Mentally it destroyed me, physically obviously it destroyed me, but mentally I give up before I had a thing in. And since then I've been putting a lot of pressure on myself to be doing these sessions as opposed to being outside like I'm now, enjoying the great outdoors. Morning. And last week when I should have been on a deload week to rest and reset and recover, Monday I went out and it should have been a zone 2 ride, and then the ego got the better of me, decided to go up Sharneyford and destroyed myself, got a PR, and then I battered it down Whitworth Road trying to, well I don't know, I just went down there and ripped my legs off. Tuesday night I went out with Ake, Beard on a bike and the Huddersfield Star Wheelers, was in the second fastest group, and that was 33 mile, 3,500 foot in 2 hours 18. Then I took a day's rest. Thursday morning I went out, I ripped my legs off again. Then Saturday I had a recce of my first trek shot ride, and that's when everything come unravelling undone. Monday morning I woke up to go and do my session and my head had fell off. My heart rate, resting heart rate overnight was flying through the roof. I checked my blood pressure was through the roof, and yeah, just not been good. So what I done was, although I still don't think I'm fully recovered, I took some rest days. So I rested Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, went out Thursday night, felt great, but my blood pressure and my heart rate's still not where it should be, which leads me up to today. Although mentally I'm feeling a hell of a lot better, but physically, clearly going up hills, I'm still, as you can see, Scott and Mike have left me. Mainly that's because I'm filming. Yeah, still not right. Then there's the throw in the mix, is I've been putting so much pressure on myself to get my weight down, which has been my priority over everything. I've gone from 119 kilos and today I'm 96.7 kilo, which is a great achievement, but it's at what cost that's come at. Now, sometimes you need to stop because doing your training is really important, but getting the recovery, I think, is probably even more important. Now we're going to talk to Scott when we get to the cafe stop, so I need to get a shimmy on because they have properly left me. So we'll come back at the cafe stop, which we're not too far from now, get a little bit more B-roll, and then we'll talk to Scott at the cafe and wrap this video up. But I just quickly add, please do consider subscribing, because honest to God it helps me massively. And also, if you've got any tips on how you manage your training and weight loss and not hitting that burnout, please do leave down below. And if you are hitting burnout, also leave that down below, even if you just need a bit of sympathy like I needed the other day off my mates. Yeah, anyway, crack on. So, the cafe was too busy to film with too many people around, and yeah, it's not fair me recording. It might not be in the latest, greatest episode of Cycling with Russ. So what we're going to do is, I'm just taking Scott and Mike over, Crag, and we'll sit down and ask Scott some questions when we get back to my house with the brew. So yeah, let's get up this. Headwind today, so there'll be no PRs. I'm going to try keeping up with these two. Just stick some music on and just tap away. Well, that was brutal. I didn't really push it, I just spun my legs up, so I feel alright, but Jesus Christ, this wind is horrendous. I don't know if you can tell, I don't know if you can hear the wind, I bet you can. But yeah, you might be able to tell looking at the res, how steep it is, how windy it is even. I'll see you at the bottom. I'll see you at the bottom. I'm not filming this because it's going to be blustery down here. I'm just going to take my time down. But yeah, Cragvale done. Get home and talk to Scott about burnout and his challenge. I'm going to try and leave this as short as possible. I didn't get a chance to record at the cafe because there was too many people around and I didn't want them being in the shop because it's not fair. Brief shots don't matter, but yeah. Anyway, so those of you that don't know, I'll let Scott just tell you briefly what he's just done on his challenge, because he will have suffered burnout on this at some point, multiple points. So
multiple points every day, yeah.
Yeah. So you've just done...
I cycle through every county in the UK in, you want miles or kilometres? What do you prefer?
Well, my channel's
I'll do both.
Do both.
I'll do both. It was something like 2,240 miles in 15 days. So I've averaged about 170 miles a day. Biggest day was 198 miles with, well, total was 3.9 Everests.
Yeah, a lot. A hell of a lot. So you can imagine what kind of burnout, and even going through the training. So I'm interested in, because I don't cycle as much as Scott, but again, as Scott said to me the other night, if you're suffering burnout, you're suffering burnout whether you're doing 10 miles a week or 100 miles a week or 1,000 miles a week. If you've just started cycling, whatever it may be, you need to be able to spot the burnout and try and come up with a plan. So obviously you've just battered yourself in training, not just on the event, but in training as well.
Very much so, yeah.
So how did you overcome burnout mentally and physically?
Several ways, I guess, because I still had to do, a vast amount of training to get ready. To briefly summarise, my training every week was recovery ride Monday, generally an hour. Wednesday would be 2.5 hours. And I'd never put it down to miles, although I would at the weekend, but that's a different thing. I'd do 2.5 hours on Friday, minimum 6 hours Saturday and Sunday. But that was usually a gamble of, trying to get 100 miles Saturday, Sunday, both days. It meant that I would have at least one full day off completely from exercise. But then, you know me, my other 2 rest days a week, I'd go rock climbing. But for me, that's not a cardio exercise.
No.
It's something I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And it's call it cross training, but that's for upper body strength without any cardio. And it's only like 4 hours a week. But if I wasn't doing any rock climbing, I would be resting. Only training 4 days a week and limiting that amount, and just being really conscious of the biggest marker for me is what I've told you before, is overnight heart rate. Most of us have got some kind of smartwatch these days.
Yeah.
And you know what your normal average heart rate would be.
So I was speaking to Scott the other night when I said about me feeling burnt out mentally and physically, and then Scott had me go on to my Garmin app on my phone, and I looked at my average heart rate over the last few weeks and my HRV. Don't ask me what HRV stands for. Heart rate variability, I think it is. And it's all been going up, and my heart rate variability has been like rock bottom. So my body has been telling me that I've been burnt out, but yet the mental side has been forcing myself to get out. So I think over the last few months I've been counterproductive with my training, because I've not been getting enough rest and I've not been spotting the signs of recovery. So like you're building waves, am I right in saying that?
Yeah, normally, sometimes in them waves you don't just level out, you actually drop a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's necessary. Your body has to consolidate the training.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, you don't get any benefit from the training.
Because then you bounce back up again, then, don't you? Further?
Exactly. And every time you step up a tiny bit further, even if it's week by week, and occasionally you'll get a week where you drop and your head will go, why am I feeling terrible? Why is my training gone bad?
Yeah.
It's because you might not have rested enough.
So how did you overcome that then? How did you spot the signs during your training? Because obviously I know how committed you was to your training, because we spoke privately, not on YouTube, we speak all the time. I know how committed you was.
I was doing over 1,000 miles a month.
Yeah, you never once complained. But there must have been points where you're thinking to yourself, it's that mind, I'm going to swear it, I don't care, it's that mind fuck of thinking to yourself, if I don't go and do this, I'm going to go backwards.
I am really blessed. And this sounds like a flex, it's not meant that way. I think my mental fortitude is superior to 99.9%.
But that can be counterproductive though, because I've ended up in a hole through being mentally thinking to myself, I'm doing it.
But it's because I have to use the mentality that it's a short term. Well, I say short term. It was 9 months of solid training.
Yeah.
But being mindful of the recovery period always.
Because you didn't take a great deal of recovery time during your training, did you?
No, in 9 months I had 23 days of rest. But 2 days a week, I don't count. If you look at Velovia, where I've got my squares, where I've done some exercise, I'm rock climbing, so I count that as rest.
And another thing as well that I'd like to add in here is that, although Scott's only mentioned this on his channel over the last 9 months about going cycling through every counter, this has been his long-term goal over the last
3.5 years.
Yeah, 3.5 years. So he's been training technically for 3.5 years for this, and his last challenge, what he did was
similar. It was every county in England.
It was a practice really for it, weren't it?
It was a practice to try and legitimise what I was basically the first one I did 2 years ago, to A, see if it was doable, B, to see if I had a bit more in the tank, C, to get the first world record, to legitimise and be able to get partners on board, companies on board, which would help me, because without them I wouldn't have been able to do this. It would have been financially impossible.
So how have you been? So obviously on the challenge you had no choice other than to carry on going no matter what, so your mental side got over it. But how has been
one day we did have to change, but we can come back to that.
But how has it been since you've completed the challenge? I know it's took you a while to recover fully, and you've just said to you today at the end of this ride that you're now fully recovered.
This is a lot quicker than I was expecting.
Have you ever felt at any point, I don't want to see my bike again?
Weirdly, no, I couldn't wait to get back on it.
So burnout, what advice would you give to people who feel that they may be suffering with burnout?
Think of the long term. basically. You're not going to get all your gains in a week, are you? Or you're not going to get your gains in 3 weeks.
You're not going to lose them all massively, are you?
No. Think of it like putting weight on. If you think of it in the opposite term, you're not going to put on 8 stone overnight, are you?
Yeah, no.
So if you start chipping away bit by bit,
yeah,
you'll be like, if you eat 3 cakes, you're going to hurt yourself, aren't you? But if you eat 1 cake over the case of over a month,
yeah,
it doesn't hurt.
I'll tell you what my plan is going forward now over the next 4 weeks. So as I was speaking to my coach, I think I may have already mentioned this in this video, but I'll repeat myself again. He's basically put me on over the next 4 weeks now on endurance rides, and at first I kind of thought, don't want to do that. I want to go back to the VO2, because the idiot inside me, which goes chasing numbers, was thinking that's what we need to do. But actually, it's not, because I've got my goal is next year. I've got nothing on at the minute, and I feel like the condition I'm in at the minute, I can pretty much go and complete most events that are going on between now and the end of the season. They're all relatively easy.
But to hit your targets, I mean, I
don't need to be doing VO2 at this point in time.
Exactly. I mean, I
need to get my mental state right and enjoy getting out and going playing out on the bike, and that's what I need.
That's one stage longer. I mean, I think I can talk with some experience about it now, but I think going out and enjoying yourself doing endurance rides, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 miles, doing them relatively regularly, like you can do your 50 mile every weekend.
Yeah,
use that as a minimum.
Just done.
It builds a good base.
Yeah,
you can't do VO2 max without a good base to start with.
No.
So you go out and enjoy for weeks on end. You start building that base up, and then everything else you're just sprinkling better on top of it.
Yeah.
Plus, again, all this endurance rides is going to help you with your extended weight loss, which is making a huge difference to your cycling.
See, that's another thing as well, which I'm going to save that for another video, because I'm going to wrap things up here, because it is a long video this point in time. We've just talked for 12 minutes. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here. There's a million other questions I could ask Scott, but I'll no doubt we'll speak about it in future videos.
I'm going to be doing a live Q&A on YouTube, probably in July or early August, when my obviously Cycle the Nation series is finished.
Yeah,
I can't remember the date, so I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, so save them all for that.
Yeah, and I'll leave. Have you got your videos in a playlist?
No, but I'll make one.
Get them in a playlist. I'm going to leave what I've just forced him to do, put a playlist together.
I'll do it now.
Is events. Do you know what? I need a shower, I need a coffee, I need caffeine, and I need food. Scott's current series of videos from his challenge are currently out at the moment. There's going to be a playlist popping up here. There'll be one at the end of the video, and then you'll be able to go on Scott's channel and see them all on there. There'll be links all over the show.
If you want to see suffering, there's lots of it, trust me. Think of the hardest thing you've ever done, and then do it again.
And again. And again. And again.
It was horrible.
Right, anyway guys, I'm going to leave the video there. Until next time, ride safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to both of us, and as well, subscribe to Mike, who's been riding with us 100%. Today as well. Give him some support. See you later guys.
Much love.